We are here because we are dedicated to helping the entire CrossFit community. Determined to elevate coaches, box owners, athletes, and everything in between, we believe that this mission will begin right here, right now. While this time and this goal begins with you, our hope is that you take this fire ignited within you and weave it into your own life with the same unrelenting passion to give those you have the privilege of coming in contact with the best hour of their day.
Back in your lives. I believe this is going to be up on a Wednesday. So if you're listening to this live, I don't know how many people listen to the shows in the future.
Number one, you can't listen to it live. I don't know why you keep saying that. We do not do a live broadcast.
Live in your car on Wednesday the 24th. So whether you're listening on the 24th or any day after, thanks again for listening. We appreciate it. Hey, shoot us a review. We've bumped up quite a few reviews since we've been asking for it. So keep it up. And what was that guy's name again?
Nosehold?
Nosehold. We're still waiting for you to adjust your
change that ranking, bro. And for everybody that just wants to make Jay feel good, if we get one review or one Patreon subscriber, he texts me. Like, that's the level of excitement that he gets when people leave us reviews. So do it for Jay, everybody.
Yeah, Fern's sick of it, but our Patreon subscribers have been increasing slow and steady. It's something I'm passionate about because it's bonus material that we get to, I just like interacting with the people that, look, we get quite a few downloads these days. We get thousands of downloads per episode. We don't know everybody. We don't get to interact with them. Who knows how much they truly enjoy it? Are they, listening? Are they taking notes? Are they sending it to their colleagues? But our Patreon subscribers are like our full-on legit fans. Like I subscribe to a few people on Patreon, and it's because I just love what they're doing, like giving them $3, $4, $10 depending on the person or the company. It's like just my way of being like, hey, keep up that good shit. So if you want us to keep up our good shit and you want me to text Fern every time we get a new subscriber, which I do.
At this point, I'm going to not recommend everybody subscribe to Patreon.
Don't listen to Fern. Patreon.com/best hour of their day. You get a bonus episode. We interact with you. If you have questions, comments, you can message us on there. So check it out. It's $6. You guys buying your fancy frappuccinos like Fern, extra whipped cream, extra pumps of whatever. What do you put in there? Hazelnut, Fern? Are you a hazelnut guy?
Oh, I don't put whipped cream in there either. That's you. You're the Mr. Macro Man. Just heavy cream, like full fat heavy cream.
Did I mention this? I think I mentioned it on a previous podcast. Russ Green? Remember the guy, Russ Green?
Yep.
I think I mentioned this, and he
the
was
Russells.
The Russells,
blog.
yeah.
God, I missed that blog. I missed that blog, by the way.
Neither of them involved with CrossFit anymore, or at least, home office. But
we could take over the Jason's blog spot.
That's a great idea, the Jason's. So anyway, amidst the COVID pandemic.
Sponsored the Jason. Sponsored. It's the Jason sponsored by Nosehold.
Anyway, he was like, everyone's worried about COVID. No one's talking about the fact that we're drinking and eating dessert for breakfast. And that's really what Starbucks is, right? I mean, I get a black coffee if I go, or an Americano.
I mean, a lot of people are smashing calories in Starbucks. I mean, that's a real thing. Like,
and just straight up sugar.
The unicorn, was there a unicorn thing not a while back? There was some drink that they were making that was legit like 2,000 calories. You know who else has been just straight sugar? Carnivore MD has been pounding this drum for a year.
That's my boy. He was on the podcast.
I know. That's why I brought it up. Him and Joe Rogan has been saying the same thing. He's just like, why can't we have a conversation about just being healthy? And then to large degree, this won't matter. None of this matters if people are healthy.
I got to admit, I love Joe, but every episode, there's like a 20-minute tangent on why is California shut down when other things are open? Why are restaurants shut down? And
that's a legit tangent that I'm in full support of, that we should have more of those.
I don't want to get political on it. The one thing I agree with is like, hey, this may not be as bad as we thought, or your overall health plays a tremendous role, period. But he's just going off. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. He's someone I look up to in the podcast world, but let's just get off this COVID tangent.
Well, no, I don't know that that's responsible, because the discussion that he's having is like, yes, it's annoying, but I think the real discussion that people are trying to have, but it's hard because people freak out about the discussion in general, is like, there are significant effects of continuing what we're continuing to do, the lockdowns and all that stuff. Like, people are losing jobs, suicide rates are up, child abuse is up. Like, there's a lot of really, really awful things that have accompanied this. And, again, there's not much that would support to say that the course that we took was effective. Like, it's just,
totally
there's a serious argument to be had there, which, I mean, if we're going to flip a coin, because there is very serious argument to be had there, then what's the point?
All good. We don't need to go.
Jay doesn't like to talk about things that are controversial, so
I don't mind talking controversial. It's just this on our place. Like, hey, what's our place to talk about it as it affects and as it relates to affiliates?
Well, it is, because those are centers for health, and this is a conversation that we have to have, but they're being forced to shut down when other industries are allowed to be open for no particular reason. It's just, it's arbitrary at best. So that is, partially what fuels me to discuss this, is because it's, we could be addressing means for mitigation by having this discussion objectively, but we're not. So anyway, moving on.
Moving back to actually patreon.com/best hour of their day. Give us a shout, give us a support. Real quick before we kick into this topic, my buddy Sim, all the way from India, who happens to be a patron. He's been a part of my coach's development group, Squash Pro, was watching the video and he says, your shirt in the background there looks like it has 3 S's on it. He actually thought for real. Sometimes there's an optical illusion on the video that makes that CrossFit shirt look like it has 3 S's.
I don't know, Sim. Oh, it's definitely 2. Cross.
It is definitely 2, but I wanted to mention it. So let's dive into this topic. And why do you think? I don't think it's unique to CrossFit. Obviously, that's our niche, but it is very common in the fitness world amongst 99% of trainers and boutique style gyms that aren't franchises, in this idea of I don't need, want, or should make money.
I think there's an illogical romance with the profession. Right. And full disclosure, I have been this person many times.
Which version of the person?
Well, I'll tell you when I was not the person. So I think it is very prevalent in the CrossFit affiliate owner space for people to make the statement that says, hey, I'm not in this for the money, or I just want to break even. And most of these folks have part-time jobs, right? So if we're going to have a serious objective conversation, then yes, there are conversations to be had with regard to tax liability. And I understand people don't want to pay taxes, and you should do everything you can to mitigate your tax liability. But there are tons of ways to do that, and strategies. We talked about this with John Briggs. However, here is my problem with that mindset. It is a disservice to the people that you work for, which is your clients, to have that mindset.
Yeah, I like what you said. It's like this romantic thing when it comes to training. I remember in college getting a job at Gold's Gym. So I'm like 20. I was making $8 an hour, which, the year 2000, it's not terrible, right? But I was just like, I've made it. Like, this is it. Like, this is the best thing that's ever going to happen to me. Like, I was so proud. I had my Gold Gym polo. And I think somewhere along the line, that kind of continues. Like, I get to be a trainer. I get to, whether it's Gold's Gym or, whether it's coaching at a box or even owning your box, you're just like, we think because we're doing what we love, that, romanticizing it, that we don't need to make money. That expression of, find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life type of thing. And then I think I overcame that really quickly in 2007 when I opened CrossFit, because I did that for 7 years and was like, fuck this. Like, those of you that have read my book, available on Amazon, Best Hour of Their Day, that, I lived in I don't know if this is PC. Can you say ghetto?
There are such things as ghettos. All sorts of people live in the ghettos.
Katie, if you can't say ghetto, bleep that out. But anyway, Katie texted me the other day. She was like, "Do you really want me to take out slam piece? Because I think you said slam piece." Oh, and by the way, I know what the word I was looking for. It's guma. Guma.
I don't know what you're referring to, so I have no idea.
Remember, I was saying the term for slam piece, not slam piece, side piece that was used on The Sopranos.
Oh, no, I don't remember that at all, actually.
Oh,
I mean, I remember we had the conversation. I don't remember that from The Sopranos. I should clarify my statement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. Well, I don't want to say who told me that. He asked me not to say, but it rhymes with Tersey Joni. Anyway, you can figure that out. Anyway, point is, when I opened my box, I was like, I'm doing this to make money, like 100%. It wasn't like I'm going to be a millionaire. I know I hear that, like, oh, you'll never be a millionaire owning a gym. But I was certainly doing it to make as much as I was and work less hours with the goal of making more. And I learned that from Coach Glassman. I mean, he talked about that. And to me, kind of gave you the okay to be like, hey, this is a business. You need to make money.
Well, I guess the hurdle I'm trying to get people to jump over is that that statement is a combination of both ignorance and delusion that I was fully.
Did you say indifference?
Ignorance and delusion.
Ignorance. Yep.
So number one is ignorance with regard to how it works. Gym makes money that you're automatically going to have a mass. Like the short answer is no. So anytime somebody says that, I'm immediately you don't know what you're doing. Haven't had a conversation with an accountant. You probably have an accountant, and second one is we may have talked about this before, but when people say things like, I don't want a 300 person gym, right? Or something along those lines. I'm like, how do you know that you don't want a 300 person? You're making assumptions about a 300 person gym that out of just pure ignorance, right? The other thing that's annoying is that this person is saying this as if they could just magically sprout up a 300 person gym, having no fucking clue how difficult that is to do.
That's the equivalent of saying, I don't want to get bulky. Like, don't worry.
I'm gonna take a rest day today because I'm not really interested in making it to the CrossFit Games this year. Like I'm gonna take it easy. So that is really, and I know this is probably poking people in the eye, but this is not because I'm like, you guys need to make money and all that stuff. I'm like, what the real crux of this, the real point I'm trying to make is you are doing the people that you so-called want to serve and love them so much. You're doing them a disservice because your business, your service, your facility, your customer care could all be better if the business was more profitable, right? And if you don't want to pay taxes, get an accountant. They'll teach you how to not pay taxes the legal way, right? Other than just running a business into the ground because you don't want to pay taxes or you're buying things you don't need for the sake of tax write-offs. Another supremely annoying statement to me. So
I said that to you the other day as a joke on the text when I wanted.
I was so annoyed.
I wanted to buy
it's a tax write-off. I was like, I want to kick you off the stairs. Yeah.
I wanted to buy a Sprinter van, travel the country, and do podcasts.
You're like, it's a write-off, and I'm like,
it's a write-off.
You're so dumb. So that's really what I see to be the problem. It's a misunderstanding of all of that. It's just like, maybe you don't want. So I'm not saying that you should have a 300 person gym. Maybe you don't want a 300 person gym. Maybe there's something specific that you do want out of your affiliate. But the assumption that I can't have both is delusional. I truly think it's delusional because I was delusional because I said those words. I'm like, I don't want this because I thought it was something else. And I thought I couldn't have connection with all the people in the gym. And then I thought that it was going to lead to all these things. And then come to find out as I get smarter and learn from other people, I'm like, oh, no, not only is that not true, it's quite frankly, like blatantly false.
Yeah, you probably your biggest quote on Best Hour has been passion as a shelf life. And
for sure.
This is a big part of that, right? Like when you say you're doing a disservice to your members, I think part of it is because we both know if you're not making money and therefore you're stressed or you're working a side job or you're just not being the best husband or wife or parent that you could be because of that, it doesn't matter how much you love this thing called CrossFit or training or coaching, you're going to burn out. And ultimately, your 50, your 100, or your 300 members are going to have a subpar product because you're no longer giving them what you set out to do to begin with. So,
and that's ultimately my argument is like these two statements are not in alignment. Just love my community. I do anything for, yeah, but I just, I'm not doing it for the money. Well, if you're not doing it for the money, then do it for them. Make money for them and reinvest it back into the business. And if you want to show a loss, that's fine. I'm not your accountant. I'm not your tax attorney. I'm not your financial advisor. If you want to do that, that's fine. But that is absent of running a business that has appropriate cash flow. Right. And so, because if I want to reallocate that to let's just say you are running, if you're a one-man band and you are running a $50,000 profit, well, you don't have to run a $50,000 profit if you don't want to. For some reason, unbeknownst to all of us, you don't want to run a $50,000 profit. Hire somebody full-time, boom, problem solved.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, and there's different things. When we talk about it's not okay to break even, we're not necessarily saying, hey, that means you need to make 50, 100 grand, but it might mean at least have a business that you enjoy being at. And yes, it's breaking even in the sense that you don't have to be there all day, but you're paying someone $50,000, you're giving back. It's not okay to break even in the sense that this is your full-time job and you're afraid to take a paycheck.
Well, I think the issue is deeper than that. And again, this was me. When I was saying those words, it's like, I don't really want to do that. What I'm actually saying indirectly is I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get there. Going back to where I started before is just the assumption that you could just magically sprout a 300-person gym that is profitable and has full-time employees is la la land. That is hard. You have to do the simple things well. You have to have like very, very good consistency for long durations. Like you can do it and you can do it well and you can do it absent of all the gimmicky things. Like it can be done. But when we say that, be like, I'm not about the money. Right. Again, then I want you to replace the statement. It's not about the money with, I don't care about my members, because those things are not in alignment. You're not giving them what you could be giving them if you ran a better business. This idea that I can't be both pragmatic and customer service oriented needs to be squashed. It needs to be squashed. It needs to go away.
It's all about the Benjamins, baby. To quote, I don't know if it's Puff Daddy or P Daddy right now.
I thought it was Puff Diddy.
Oh, is it Puff Diddy? Anyway,
no, actually,
I agree with you. And here, let's just throw this out there while we're on the topic. A quick way, if you're listening to this, to make more money at your boxes, check out WheelPay.
Right, you don't have to do anything. Right, just don't pay merchant fees. Essentially, I mean, like that'd be a way to get back 3% roughly to the bottom line.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of methods. WheelPay just is a very quick and easy method that you're going to eliminate merchant fees. You're going to give money to charity. It's made by a CrossFitter. It's growing. We have a lot of affiliates that we work with that have started.
Yeah, John's a box owner. Like he gets it.
He's a box owner. He's part of the adaptive community. He travels to Ogar's box. He travels to Logan actually trains at his box in North Carolina. They were on the Dropping In episode 10, Neuse River. They were the class that came nowhere near to running on time. Remember that? John just botched the timeline. That was one of those examples we talk about where I was like, this class, it's impossible for this
immediately
class
it's going to run over. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Well,
now, granted, he did give a nice introduction, and all of my credentials take 15 minutes. By the time you get to level 4,
he gave you way too much credit, to be honest with you.
But check out WheelPay. Tell them Best Hour sent you, and if you have questions about it, we're happy to help. But talk to John over at WheelPay. Easy way. 3% of merchant fees for some boxes is like $2,000 a month. Maybe that's a little high.
It's a little high. To be doing $2,000 a month, you probably need to be running 40K ish.
Oh, that's not okay. That's not unreasonable. We have boxes, that work with us that are doing that. But that's another employee. That's your payroll. People, and whether it's WheelPay or some other things that we've gone over, it's like, hey, do you want a $500 a month raise? Like, imagine asking that to somebody going to a 9-to-5 and then being like, nah, I'm good. There are so many things box owners can be doing to bump up their salary, and or like you said, more importantly, bring somebody else on. If you open your gym and you're the guy that's like, oh, I don't want a 300-person gym, or I didn't do this to make money, maybe you did it so you can also give back and help somebody coach for their living. That was a big thing for me.
Yeah, give other people an opportunity. So again, I really this idea that breaking even is okay is not okay, because it doesn't have. If you feel bad about it, number one, I think you should sort that out. Number two, you can give that to somebody. You can give that opportunity or those financial resources to somebody else, or you can reinvest them back into the business. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing where you feel like take it all in and you feel greedy. I mean, I'll be straight up with you. If your business grows and you don't reinvest and all you do is continue to take it and nothing about your gym improves, well, then you're a turd. Like, then I think that's awful. You can and should do both. And I was telling somebody this the other day on one of my phone calls, is that if you don't think that you would have a line down the street, if you put out an ad or some sort of job listing, it's just like CrossFit coach, $40,000 a year, you're high. You're absolutely insane. There are people that would leave much higher paying jobs to go do that. I promise you, they will pack up their stuff and they will move to your box in order to do that.
We have boxes that are doing that because they've done so well. I mean, you were telling me about a box before. I don't know if you want to share his name, but
and I have like 4 or 5 of my clients right now who that we're working with are just like, I need to hire people at this point. I'm like, that's not a problem. Now we have a different set of problems that we have to sort out now. And this is another hurdle, which is the fear that I've got this cash flow coming in and I'm going to hire somebody is not going to work out. You have to get over that too. You're not going to make great hires all the time. However, here again, I will put you at ease with this whole scenario. Is like, if it doesn't work out, fire them and put out the listing again. You'll have a whole new set of people coming through. They'll be like, I would love to take that job. I love CrossFit.
You also have a pile of resumes also that you could just
right.
call.
You just, it's just like, make sure you have this perfect hiring process. I'm like, it doesn't exist. You're gonna miss on some of these. Fire quickly and then move to the next person. But what I need to establish is a business that has the capability of bringing somebody in. Because what people end up doing is there's multiple fears involved here. Multiple fears that, like, somehow I'm going to owe a bunch of taxes, which is, again, that's ignorant at best. And then this other fear that is like, well, then I'm going to have to hire somebody who's not going to be good enough. And I'm like, maybe not. But the point is, you're looking through such a small, like, lens. Like, broaden that thing out a little bit. And understand that, like, people will pack up and they will move to go work at your gym because you have opportunity for them. And then that will improve the business when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of where you're going to put this money, I think just that mindset, and I think it's improved in 2021 from where it was. I mean, the number of times, like I mentioned earlier, you're never going to be throw in a dollar amount, a millionaire, you're never going to make 6 figures. Both of us have kind of put that statement to rest. We've created very lucrative boxes, some of which have been sold where, for more money than most people think you can make at a gym. If you don't want to, yes, you will never be a millionaire as a box owner or as a coach. But if you want to, whether it's a box, a food truck, any small business, you're only limited by your own work ethic, intelligence, desire to learn, willingness to take on coaching. The point is, it's a really self-limiting belief.
And again, what I want people to take away from this is like, yeah, and some people are probably like taking this personally, which, quite frankly, I think is okay. I think you should take this personally. However, the real problem here is that I cannot make the statement that I really just love my member and my community. I would do anything for them, and simultaneously hold the same belief that, like, I'm not really doing this for the money, so therefore I'm going to run a suboptimal business. Those two statements do not match at all, and that should be rectified, because you can serve them better than you're currently doing now by running a better business. And there's multiple ways you can do that. There's no one set way in order to make that happen. You can do it. Now, there's there's pitfalls in that whole process where you'll lose a bunch of money and you'll have a, good idea fairy come by and tell you that you should do something really dumb, and you'll do it, and then you'll learn a lesson, and then you'll course correct. But there's people out there that can help you with that.
Yeah, and we're not saying it's a perfect, like, okay, I've decided I'm going to make money. Be like, this is the secret.
Today's the day. Today's the day.
I mean, we certainly believe in, putting it out there, putting that energy out there, focusing, thinking about it, spending time in the morning thinking about it. But it's not going to be just, who knows? Maybe it is. Hey, I'm doing this to make money now.
I make money.
one of the biggest eye openers to me, in a funny way, at the gym it was probably like 2008, and I was doing apparel quite often, not in a good way, like holding inventory, not doing pre-orders, things you and I speak about regularly now. And this woman made an Albany, she made an Albany CrossFit t-shirt. And I was like, did you just that's like a bootleg shirt? And she was like, well, you're charging more than shirts cost when you sell them. And I was like, is it okay if I eat? That's what we forget. Can I have dinner too? Do you go to work for free? And I think people forget that. Sure, it's a t-shirt, but my time went into designing it. I, have to call the guy back then and order them. And there's a chance that I'm sitting on inventory. All of these things, yes, you can buy a plain t-shirt and get that glitter glue shit and make your own box t-shirt. But, that's the mentality. And I think it's sometimes cyclical, because we do have members like that do member math. And they're like, well, Fern's got 300 members and they're each paying $200 and he's making $600,000 a month. I'm like, well, he's got rent. I mean, first of all, that number, your math is wrong. Secondly,
way wrong. I was like, I'm killing it. This is a really good version of me.
Yeah. Secondly, he's got employees and rent and electricity and bills. And at what point is it I've had that conversation. Would you go to work and your boss said, hey, you're killing it, you're doing a great job, however, we do need you to work for free going forward?
But you know why you would never do that? Because I bet the business that you work for runs it like a business, and your members will treat you the way that you run your business.
Yeah. But
I don't know how else to sell that. If you run it like it's a hobby and you're running it out of your backyard and it's just everything's a handshake and it's just don't worry about it, then your members will take advantage of that. And that's not their fault. That's your fault. That's your fault.
That, have you heard of Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, I know who Jordan Peterson is. Yeah.
He's got a new book out called
greatest Canadian of all time.
Him
and Wayne. Yeah, him and Wayne Gretzky. I'll give it to Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
Who's a better Canadian?
I don't know if Jordan Peterson can play hockey though.
I think all Canadians can play hockey.
That's actually probably not inaccurate.
Yeah, there we go. So anyway,
Paul Tremblay said that is accurate, actually.
Paul's got 4 kids, by the way.
Paul has a lot of children. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how many at this point. He's trying to breed his own hockey team. That's where I'm going with this.
What are they? I think it's 7 for hockey. Is it 7?
I have no idea. That's not my swim lane.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Football is not your swim lane.
There's no sport really. I know a little bit about baseball from growing up watching the '86 Mets.
Not if you think Bill Belichick coaches the Braves. You don't know anything about baseball.
Shout out Lenny Dykstra. My favorite night of the year was actually last night. We're recording this on a Sunday. NCAA men's wrestling tournament. I could just sit there. I watch it all weekend long.
Speaking of NCAA tournament, the March Madness is currently going on right now, and people's brackets are on fire. And I don't mean in a good way. There have been some serious, I don't remember the last time there was this many upsets. There's a lot of upsets, top 5 teams that have lost thus far in March Madness. I'm talking about basketball right now, Jay. You look a little lost. Yeah. So
I saw that one of the teams had to withdraw because of COVID. But anyway, let me say 2 things. One, I got 1 kid at 6 weeks, and I don't know how Paul has 4. I don't know how you have 2, to be quite honest, but 4.
We're both men.
Insane. Anyway, I'm listening to Jordan Peterson's new book called Beyond Order. He has the 12 rules, and this is 12 more rules. And this wasn't one of the rules, but within a chapter, he said, I re-quoted it for the CrossFit world, but he said something to the extent of in absence of community, monsters will evolve.
Ooh,
He didn't say that. I
right.
tweaked it. I forget what it was. And that's kind of how I reinterpreted it. Because I think that's kind of what we're saying. Like, in absence of community, or maybe you can throw in their culture, which usually comes from the owner top down, monsters will evolve. Because it made me think about that woman that I just referred to. Like, that's on me as well. Like, hey, this is a freaking business. And that's why I charge $25 a t-shirt. Yes, I'm paying 12, but my time, effort, and energy is worth that $13. But also for, boxes where it's like, oh, these people are doing their own thing over there. These people are doing their own program. These people are doing X, Y, and Z. In the absence of community, monsters will evolve. That's your fault. You're not, whether it's community, whether it's culture, or whether it's just showing the affiliate what your message is, you're allowing these, assholes to basically take over.
And assholes isn't even accurate, right? They're just people who are acting within the confines of the environment that was built for them, right? So they're not intentionally being assholes, right?
That's true.
They're just operate. They're it's like, what? I think this is an Andy Stump quote. It's just like, I'm going to butcher this now, but Steve Haydock quotes it all the time, and now I'm forgetting it. But it's like this is going to bug me now for like 8 days until I remember this quote. It's something about the standard is a standard, and it really annoys me that I can't remember that. But it's just like you get what you tolerate, right? So like, if within that, if you create an environment that tolerates people not paying their memberships on time and people showing up late and cliques arising within the community, then that's what you're going to get, and that's what your business will represent. And
let me give you another...
going back to the cheater gym, like, if that is what you allow within the gym, then that is what the gym will be. And there's also a misunderstanding that, like, when we say run a sound business, that the business needs to be hard and rigid and not customer service oriented. And that's just not true. It is a fallacy. I was just talking to one of the gyms I'm working with. He texted me this morning. It's Sunday. He texted me this morning. He was like, bro, he showed me the numbers, and it was
that's
like,
what I was referring to earlier.
It was amazing. But he said to me, he's like, these are the best numbers we've ever had. And I feel like I've just been giving things away for the past 2 months. My response is like, if you do this the right way, then it works. But if you don't do it the right way, and you're just quite literally giving things away, then it doesn't work.
I want to, before I ask you this question, I do want to blow your mind. We accept the love we think we deserve. Perks of Being a Wallflower. I don't know if you've read that book when you were a little younger.
I have not. Well, maybe I have. Anyway, go ahead.
Great book, but I remember that quote. I think it was important. But it's kind of, whether it's we accept the standard we think we deserve, or, the standard. I think it might even be the standard becomes the standard. I think I've heard Haydock say that. But anyway, give us a few examples of when he says, can we use his name?
Who?
The person you're referring to. The box.
Colton. Yeah.
Colton, yeah. So give a few examples of what Colton's referring to when he says, I feel like I'm giving things away.
Well, they've dialed up a nice referral system. He's got, a good onboarding process. And I'll be honest with you, like, when I started doing this years ago, it does feel like you're giving a lot away, because you are, but you're doing it intentionally, right? So giving something away designed so that both parties win. And I'm not just referring to just your referral process. I'm referring to just at large. Then it does feel like you're giving a lot away, which, by the way, feels great. It just feels good. As a business owner, be like, take this shirt, take this water bottle. Here's a note that says thank you. Like that stuff is the stuff that I spend a lot of my time on now, because it feels good. I selfishly spend my time there because it feels good to me, and that's what keeps me charged up all the time. And
when you realize, the other thing that this guy said was, Colton, he's the average revenue per member has gone up substantially. You realize I'm giving this stuff away, a water bottle. I used to be very guilty of that, but not doing the other thing, which is like, I'm actually making it up on the back end. And,
right.
Part of our referral program is we tell you to give money to not just the person that recommended or referred the person, but the person that actually joined. And people have, originally like, $50, $100 off your first month. Yeah. But you're running such an amazing business that they're going to be there until you shut your doors down. Is
Right.
$100 on the front end worth 10,000? It's the marshmallow test.
And
Don't eat this marshmallow, you'll get 2. Same thing here.
Right. So it's the patience to understand that when dialed up correctly, when dialed up intentionally, when dialed up thoughtfully, the long-term repercussions of what are seemingly small increments start to stack up. For instance, if you had a 100-person gym and you did not increase your overall membership number, so we stayed at 100 for 12 months, and I was able to increase my average client value by $20, right? And that doesn't mean raise your rates. There's a lot of ways you can do that, right? Let's just say you kept it at whatever it was. That is, over the course of 1 year, an increase in revenue of $24,000. $20, no increase in your membership number, right? You're just like, let's say you're just a weird gym. You're like, we're capped at 100. We're never taking more than 100 people. But you installed other things that both felt good to the business to make sure that you provided and felt good for the consumer to purchase. And my overall average client value went up by $20. That's $24,000 a year to the bottom line. And you can do whatever you want with that. You can give somebody a base salary of $24,000. You can, I don't know, put a down payment on a building. You could do any number of things with that. And that is the point.
Well, going back to your original point, the true point of all of this is you're doing your clients a disservice. I think that's really where we need to go with it, right? In summation, you can look at it. I don't want to make money, X, Y, or Z, whatever your self-limiting beliefs are. But ultimately, if you truly did this, I love coaching, I love CrossFit, I had a life-changing experience and now I want to share this with the world. If you don't make money, you're going to share it with the world for a very finite amount of time. And it's not going to be fun for you. And when you're done, you're no longer, it's like ordering too much ice cream. You at first you love it. And then you're like, I'm sick of this ice cream. You're going to be sick of this box. And people ask me all the time, and you get a question as well about affiliate you, Fern, what does make you stand out? And I say it's a few things. A, we only work with CrossFit affiliates. We actually had a few people recently like I de-affiliated. Cool. There's other coaching out there. We're not for you. We have a coaching development aspect of it where there's, opportunity for not just the box owner, but their entire coaching staff to work with us. But I think most importantly, when people ask me that, it's yes, we're going to make you more money, but most importantly, we're going to make your gym actually the gym you wanted it to be, which means it's going to be fun for you to be at. And the only way you get there is by paying, don't think you can have that and be eating ramen for dinner.
No. And ultimately,
unless you like ramen. For the record, ramen's delicious.
Ultimately,
if you want ramen, go for it.
Right. Well, then go for it. Like ultimately, the statement that is not actually true. They think it's true, and you and I have both experienced. How many people in the course of either running your affiliate, or this happens probably a little bit more frequently for seminar staff, come up to you and be like, "I want to do your job."
Every weekend we get a couple.
Every single weekend, right? So nobody's saying like, I want to do that for free. That's not the question. No, that's not the statement. They're like, I want your job. And I'm like, because it's an awesome job.
Yeah. And for the record, I think all of us on staff and those people originally we've said it before. I would do this for free. You've said it. I've said it. I would. Not every weekend.
No, I would not have worked 37 weekends in 2019 for free. Like I would not have done that. As much as I love it, like it would have been an overwhelming hardship on myself and my family. So no, I don't want to work for free. Do I love the job and do I do things of that nature for free all the time? Yes. But you cannot, sacrifice yourself in this scenario. Like you're the one who basically people are relying on, right? It's the old, like you can't pour from an empty cup type scenario. That's kind of the moniker that we're like going after. It's just like, if you want to do good, you have to take care of yourself. Selflessness requires some degree of selfishness.
I don't know. I assume it's because you read my book, Best Hour of Their Day, the chapter, Fill Your Cup First. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, number one, that's not your original thought, but I'm glad that you ripped that off from somebody. Probably didn't give credit and then said it as your own. At the end of the quote, it just says, #, Jason Ackerman.
Like, it says cool. Wayne Gretzky, Jason Ackerman. Anyway, right. Yeah, I mean, without taking care of yourself and you're going back to seminar staff, I know I've said that before. I do this for free. We've never had to, obviously the intern process. But yeah, if you're like, hey, by the way, you have to go to Dubai this weekend or Greece or Germany or anything that's going to require an additional day of travel, you're like, okay, this changes things a bit. But more importantly, yes, one weekend a year, I'd be like, cool, it's my volunteer. I really have a good time. You start doing that weekend after weekend, all of a sudden what you're giving out starts to diminish. And just for those listening, just think about coaching. I would do it for free. Cool. Do it for free for the next month and see if the product diminishes just a little bit.
Yeah, if you're doing a barter, pay your membership too. If you would really do it for free, pay your membership, coach 30 classes a month, right? Or
you start to think to yourself, this is not adding up, and I don't want to. It would start like this. I'm not going to show up 15 minutes early today. I'll show up right as class. Then it would start with I'm showing up a few minutes late. Then it'd be like I didn't look at the workout. I'm not researching what it is. That's what would happen. And the same, whether it's seminar staff, box ownership, coaching, whatever it is.
You're not going to go the extra mile. You're not going to go the extra mile. You're not going to buy the gift, the cards and write thank you notes to everybody. You're not going to, send flowers to the client whose parent died or any of those things. You're not going to take somebody out to lunch or coffee because you realize they're having, a rough time. You're not going to give that coach a bonus because they did a fantastic job and went above and beyond without having being asked to do so. So you're not going to do any of those things. If you're not, you're going to be a poor leader.
Yeah. All of that. Yep. And it's the direct opposite of why you started this thing. So it's not okay to break even. Any final words on the topic?
No, but I feel like you should have just cut it right there.
I should have. But before I cut it, check out Doc Spartan. Use the code BESTHOUR, 15% off. As you can. Did you shave today, Fern?
I shaved yesterday.
Oh, that's like it.
I use Dollar Shave Club, which is great.
Do you use them?
By the way, okay, this is a perfect example. Check this out. Dollar Shave Club is amazing, number one. And they give relatively cheap products out. However, that is a $1 billion entity, right? That is a prime example of customer service oriented and pragmatic.
Why do you like Dollar Shave?
It's super convenient, and I do like the products, right? It's very convenient. I like the products. I use almost everything, right? So I use the razors, I use the shave butter, I use the deodorant, I use, we should get sponsored by them. One of the products that I like the most in there, they have this thing called Eye Savior, right? And it's basically this stuff you put underneath your eyes. It's like caffeine for your eyeballs. So when I put it underneath my eyes in the morning, boom, that sleepy eye look that you got going on. Like for all you 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
I do.
Yeah, you got bags underneath your eyes. You look at least 42 years old.
I've got a 6-week-old upstairs shitting herself every 5 minutes.
So for all you 5 a.m., 6 a.m. coaches, like you should probably invest in some Eye Savior, and that way you're showing up to the box looking vibrant. By the way, we get nothing from Dollar Shave Club. But my point stands though, is that is a perfect example of a company that is worth boatloads of money, but was designed like. You guys, why they were designed, right? You know how Dollar Shave Club sprung up?
I think they were just sick of paying a crazy fee for the razors, right?
So that company exists because they were like, hey, we need to do what's best for the customer. And they made money. Lots of money. I'm pretty sure that dude sold the company. He may not have, but I'm like, either way, he never has to work a day again in his life. But that's a good example of something like that. Like you can achieve both.
Well, you know what they're really a good example of? And before I give you my answer, you realize Doc Spartan has an amazing coffee scrub that I use, full body. I love it. It's not designed just for your eyes. It's a full body scrub, but it smells just like coffee. I use it in the morning. It wakes me up. Use the code BESTHOUR for 15% off over Doc Spartan. That's not to say, hey, Dollar Shave Club is great too. I think they're two different companies. But if you want a really good scrub or the stuff I use to look 42 years old, go over to Doc. I don't know if that's the best selling point. Hey, I look 42, but I think I look pretty decent. But Dollar Shave Club is a great average revenue per member. Because think about it, it's $1, but you must be spending, I would guess, at least like 12 to 15 per month.
That's called ingenious branding, and the point is that I spend way more than $1, right? But I don't spend a ton of money there. But like, I buy cologne there. I buy, like, there's a lot of things that I buy there, right? So I've got my hand care kit that I buy is from there, right? And all these strategies like that they have involved in there are things that you could loop into your business. Also, things that we teach in Affiliate U with regard to like where and when to do these types of incentives anyway. But the whole point is you can do both, and breaking even is not okay.
So you never miss an episode of the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and on all major podcasting platforms at Best Hour of Their Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of the best hour of our day. See you next time.